everyone, welcome to Backyard Science. My name is Marilyn and this week I am bringing you a bird bonanza. This week we're going to go over some pointers on how to identify birds. We're going to actually go out and try to identify some birds, and then I will show you how to make a bird feeder that you can make at home. That's pretty easy. So without further ado, let's figure out what we'll need to go birding. In order to go birding, it is helpful to have binoculars and a field guide. But if you don't have either of those things, you can take your journal with you, make notes about the bird that you see or the sounds it makes, and you might be able to identify it when you get back from your trip. And then don't forget there are tons of other resources online in order to ID birds as well if you don't have one of these guides. But these are nice because it shows you the group of the bird, and then you can look at the different shapes and colors and identify the one that you are looking at. And if you don't have your own pair of binoculars, you can always make a practice pair with some toilet paper rolls stuck together and a string, and that lets you practice using binoculars. When you look at the thing that you want to look at, you want to find it with your eyes and then bring your binoculars up to it, and that's how you're able to look at something with binoculars. Remember that birds are very skittish because a lot of things prey on them, so you want to be very quiet when you're birding. And there are a couple of things about the bird that you want to think about and look for. The first is the group. That is the type of the general group. Is it a small songbird? Is it a large crow-like bird? Does it look like a duck? Is it squat like a pigeon? You know, those kinds of, once you kind of know those groups, you're halfway to identifying a bird. The next thing is the shape. Is it round? Is it slender? Next is the size, which can be difficult from a distance, but it is a factor. The behavior, is it in a group? Is it alone? Is it flitting around with other birds? Is it hopping on the ground, pecking at things? Is it kind of swooping and diving? The next is habitat. Is it in a tree? Is it on a field? Is it in a bush? All those things help you. The next is season. There are some birds that might not be present in your area in a season. So one sparrow might be present in the spring but not the winter. And then if you see another sparrow in the winter, it's that one, for example. Another is field marks. Does it have a white spot, a white ring around its eye, or a bar on its forehead? Does it have bars on its wings or tail? Or a distinctive chest color like a robin's breast? The next is voice or call. Those can be difficult, especially when you're just starting out. But some can be distinctive and helpful. And then the last is color, because there are a lot of brown birds or gray birds, but if you look at all of the other shapes before that, then the color will help narrow it down. So we have a compost corner, which is a great place that can attract bugs that birds eat. Our compost corner has some lemons, some mango rinds, some eggshells, and all those things bring the soil together, and they make a great habitat for the bugs that birds like to eat. But last week when I saw some sparrows that I believe are white-crowned sparrows on this fence, I had a hard time getting close to them. Take a look. What I did, I actually used my brain a little bit, and I made an impromptu bird blind. Now, a bird blind is something that ornithologists, say that again, ornithologists use to study birds. Now, ornithologists are scientists that study birds, and bird blinds allow them to sit and watch the birds without the birds realizing that humans are watching them. And it lets them look at their behavior in a way that isn't affected by how they would act if a predator like a human is around. So let me show you my little bird blind. Let's see. So the sparrows were there, and I found one of these fence knot holes and realized that they were sitting in the yard next door. So that way I can hide behind the bird blind and observe the birds without them realizing that I was. So sometimes when you are birding, you have to be a little bit sneaky. Another kind of bird that you might see in this area are hummingbirds. Now, hummingbirds are the smallest kind of bird on the planet right now. There are lots of different species, but for the most part, they are about 3 inches in length, but although there are some that are even smaller than that and some that are a little larger, they eat nectar, and they use their long needle-like bills to sip that nectar out of trumpet-shaped, brightly colored flowers. So if you're looking for hummingbirds, that's a good place to look for them. They get their name from the humming sound that comes from their wing beats. They can beat their wings anywhere from 15 to 80 beats per second, which is extremely fast. And so that makes a humming noise when they are flying around and hover, and they often hover. So that's a behavior that you want to look for if you are looking for hummingbirds. They're going to hover around the plants and try to sip. They very rarely perch. So they have a very high metabolism. So when I saw the hummingbirds last week, they were on these red trumpet-shaped flowers that I think might be part of our onion that might have grown in our compost pile, although I have to make sure what kind it is. Another visitor I had in my yard was a scrub jay, probably a California scrub jay, and that is a type of corvid. Now, the corvidae are a family of birds that include crows, ravens, magpies, and several other species, and also blue jays. And they are marked by their intelligence and the fact that they are everywhere. They adapt to many different kinds of food. They eat fruit, nuts, even small mammals, and they also eat human food. So you're likely to see them in your bird explorations. And there have been studies done that have seen them recognize themselves in mirrors, as well as remember where they've buried nuts and things. So they are a really interesting animal to watch, and I hope that you see some in your own bird bonanza. Okay, I'm going to show you what you need to make a little bird feeder with what you have at home. I have an apple, some dried cranberries. You can use raisins if you have bread, or I think some hard cheese might work too. And then you need some wire. If you don't have wire, you might be able to use something to punch a hole in the pieces of your fruit or your items and string it through to make a circle. And then once you've strung everything on, you're going to curl it in a circle and cut it like that. And then I have ribbon as the string, but that will probably become litter. So if you have twine or some kind of natural material, that would no doubt be better. But once you've, with the help of an adult or an older sibling, cut your fruit into small pieces, then you would string it on, right? And then you would have your little bird feeder. a good reminder to look for other evidence of birds, especially since they can be challenging to see. But that concludes our bird bonanza for this week. I hope you had fun. I hope you learned something. We saw a lot of different kinds of birds, different sizes, and I'm sure that you will see lots of other different kinds of birds in your area. I would recommend the Cornell Lab of Ornithology website. They have a great tool for you to search a bird by the shape of it, as well as a lot of sound files. If you get a recording or if you record the sound that you hear if you're looking at a bird. And they also have a lot of bird live cams for things that they're studying all over the world. So that's really interesting as well. And then audubon.org also has a lot of great information on native plants and a lot of different ways that you can make your yard more bird friendly, and ways to get started on birding as well. We hope to see pictures of your bird feeders in the comments, and I hope that you had fun. Now, see you next week and go explore. Bye.